What is going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dylan and this is Vanboy Auto Styling. And today's video, it's a big one. We are going to be tuning the car with boot mode. Alright, you guys, so this is actually my first time tuning really any BMWs. We're going to be using Boot Mode, which is an app that you can buy on Windows or iOS or Mac. So to use the tune, you have to connect your computer, your laptop to the car. To do that, you're going to be using this Obd2 to Ethernet adapter, and then to get this into my MacBook, because it doesn't have an Ethernet port, I'm going to be using this USB 3.0 to gigabit Ethernet adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out, get them hooked up to the laptop, and I will join you guys again once we have all that together. Alright, so everything is connected up. I'm going to go ahead and put this into the laptop here. Now, I don't have it connected to the car yet, and getting this connected to the car, you actually have to have the car off in an accessory mode. So I'm going to do that in just a second. I'm just going to get everything set up. I am recording my laptop screen, so I'll be throwing that up as well for you guys to see. So what I'm doing right now is just going on to that Boot Mode website. Actually, you know what? Give me one sec. Alright, so I am at the Boot Mode login screen, and what it's saying right now is detecting Obd Agent. So Obd Agent is another thing that you're going to download when you buy Boot Mode from wherever you buy it from. So I've got that downloaded. I'm going to open that now. This is basically going to act as the tuning agent. So the website is acting as the link kind of to the cloud source. So that is connected to the internet, and then the agent is going to be connecting to my car. So now that it says Obd Agent detected, VIN unavailable, I'm going to go ahead and connect this to the car. So to do that, I'm going to turn the car off and then put it back into accessory mode. So what I'm going to do right now is turn everything off that I don't need on. That's going to drain the battery. So I have a pretty good battery, and I've been letting the car run, so everything's going to go off. No lights on or anything like that. Everything's good. AC is off, so I'm going to turn the car off. All the way off. And they're going to come back onto accessory mode. I'm going to put in my seatbelt, because these cars will turn off accessory mode if the seatbelt is not connected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug this down into the OBD port. So it's a good idea to go ahead and get this plugged into the OBD port before, because it is kind of tucked away back here. A little difficult to get to. Alright, that is on snug. I can get back in the car now. Sitting in the parking lot at my work. People probably think that I am jacking this car. Alright, accessory mode is on. Putting my seatbelt back in. Seatbelt is in. We're in accessory mode, and it now says connected. So we are now connected to that. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So we need to register the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and click to activate that. So waiting on an activation key, which I will get in my email. I'm going to not show you guys this part just because, you know, we're private. So now I can go to the menu, go to the off-the-shelf maps here. And what we're going to want to run is the Stage 1 93 octane. Where I live, I do have 93 octane available. So I'm going to be doing that. We don't want any Stage 2 or anything like that, because we are pretty much factory. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click Get Tune. And yes, I would like to acquire that map. So now when I purchased Boot Mode, I purchased all of the maps for my car. So I have access to all of them, and I can always download them again. So you'll see it here, Stage 1 93 octane. And click that. Okay, so this is the tune. Up here there's a little settings window for configure. We're going to go to the configuration, exhaust burble type. We're going to go to custom. We're going to go back a little bit on the aggression and a little bit longer on the duration. And I think that's going to give us the kind of burbles that I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep it the same roughly on both. I watched a couple guys do some of these videos on how to do that. So thinking that's what they had on there roughly. So I'm going to save all that, leave everything else how it is. Actually, there was one more thing on there I wanted to look at, and that was the exhaust flap. I kind of want that to always stay open. So exhaust flap, open. And that's just because I want to hear my exhaust. I don't have a aftermarket exhaust yet. I'm still on the stock muffler, so I want to get as much out of that as I can. Okay, so we're going to go back to that. And with everything configured, we're going to flash. Press here to flash now. Battery charger is highly recommended again. Headlights off. It's off. Fan is off. The seatbelt is in. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run its course here. It's going to be downloading the map from the servers. Going to allow that. Okay, and we're flashing. So while we're flashing, you're going to hear it. All of our lights and things are going to go off. It's going to be acting like the car is braking. So the factory ECU tells everything what to do. We're very much removing that. So the car is going to think that it has no control unit, but then we're going to be re-uploading the tuned version, and it's going to have all of that information again. So all of these lights will go back off. So 3% completed. Just going to let this run its course. It's a good idea to have your laptop at a pretty high battery. Mine's at 49% right now. I think that's going to be plenty for the flash. I have tuned one car before. I tuned my that Honda Civic that I had, the SI. The tuner application for that was called K-Tuner. It had the same kind of deal, an OBD port that connected to the laptop. That one I had to run on Windows, and I'm really not a Windows user outside of my desktop, so I had to get an old, really crappy laptop, and in the middle of it, it actually died on me, and I thought I'd bricked the car. I panicked so bad, but luckily I was able to plug the laptop in and continue where I had left off, and there was no issues with it, but that was scary. This so far has been a much smoother experience, so I'm really big fan of boot mode so far. So what I've read of this tune is the off-the-shelf map on a stock car will roughly result in an 18% horsepower increase and a 22% torque increase. So that's going to put this car from where it was, I think the stock numbers were 240 horsepower and 255 foot-pounds of torque. That should bring it up to around 280 roughly horsepower and over 300 foot-pounds of torque. So it should be a very noticeable difference, especially in a four-cylinder car like this. I'm very excited. That's honestly pretty close to the factory numbers of a 335i. So if you're like me, you didn't get that straight six twin turbo, and you got the 328i, this will bump you right up there to kind of compete with those, which is nice. 61% done. Luckily not too hot today because the way the weather's been here in Georgia, if I was to do this like this, just sitting outside in an unair-conditioned car, I would be sweating like crazy right now, but it's not too bad in here, thankfully. Getting close here. My laptop sounds like a jet plane. Okay, finishing up restoring coding. Couple dings there. Couple sounds. Clearing codes in all vehicle ECUs. So all of those warning lights are now going away. Awesome. It looks like it's back to normal there. Success. Please turn ignition off, wait 5 seconds, and then start the car. So I'll click this one time, turn it completely off, I'll wait. About 5 seconds, and then foot on the brake and we'll actually start it up. Okay, came to life, no issue. Go ahead and hit OK on here. And that is the car. Fully tuned. So let me go back here, look at our dashboard here, and it should kind of show us what's going on. Yep, that's pretty cool to see. Idle feels like normal, honestly. Everything feels pretty normal. Give it a little bit of a rev there, just for fun. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is to unplug everything. So I'm gonna go back to the vehicle here. Look at all that. And you can actually transfer your license to another vehicle if, say, you get a different BMW. You don't have to go back through and buy it again, which is nice. So I'm gonna exit here. keep my login info. And I'm going to disconnect this. And disconnect the OBD down here as well. What a weird angle sitting in the car. A lot easier from a outside the car position. Okay, that off of there. All right, give me just a second. I'm gonna get situated here and we'll go for a drive and I'll give you guys my first thoughts on the first drive with the car tuned. I'm trying to let my laptop cool down. It got really hot during that. It's holding it up in front of the AC. Use this thing for a lot of business, so I don't want to brick that. All right, here we go. First drive with the freshly tuned F30. Got my camera on a Gorilla Pod just kind of wrapped around the door handle over there, so hopefully you guys don't go flying in the middle of this. But no promises. So I've got it in sport right now. For me, I have sport set to not change the way the engine and the transmission react. So this is going to be kind of my comfort test, and then we'll go into, I'll put it over into the sports transmission. We'll see how that feels. So far everything feels nice and smooth. Obviously just cruising around like this, you're not going to really notice too much of a change. Go ahead and throw up my sports displays on here. Okay, so interestingly enough, the sports displays are now showing different units. So the HP gauge is topped out at 320, which was, I think, is how it was before, but the torque gauge is now topped out at 400, which is promising. A little bit of a pull here. Very comfortable, smooth power in the regular transmission setting. And again, I'm not sure if you guys are going to hear my engine at all because this is the stock muffler, and this is the N26. I don't know if you guys know the difference, but there's two types of the 328i. There's the N20 and the N26. The N26 is the SULEV, or super ultra low emissions vehicle. That meaning that there's just a couple more restrictions, catalytic converters, and emission standards on this car. It was made for like California and states that have very high emission standards. So what that basically means is a little bit more power has been robbed and a little bit more sound has been taken away from the car. So I am looking to do that muffler delete still to free some of that up, but pretty tame car. I'm not mad at it though. I don't mind being low emissions. So we're gonna turn right over here. In the regular mode, feels pretty potent. What I'm noticing though is the transmission is so smooth with the power in that comfort mode. No harsh shifting. You don't even really feel like it's shifting, honestly, which is kind of what I expected out of the 8-speed. And I was a little bit surprised to find that I felt some hard shifts sometimes. So let me go ahead and put it over into the sports transmission and we'll really see what this feels like here. I'm gonna let it go in automatic, see how it does with the tune, and then I'll switch over to the paddle shifters and kind of control the power myself a little bit more. See if we can hear some burbles too. I've never had this car burble. Here we go. Oh wow. Oh, that's a big difference. It's so smooth. It's like crazy smooth. When I tuned my Honda Civic before, what I noticed immediately was how much more power you get in the higher revs because of the turbo. And all that tune basically did was, I mean, it did a lot of things, but it upped the boost pressure that was allowed. And you really noticed that you had to kind of push. There was almost no power until roughly 3,000, 4,000 RPM. This is smooth the entire way through. It's crazy. It feels like almost like a naturally aspirated car. I don't know if you could hear it. It definitely winds up. It was shifting in the sports transmission and automatic. It was shifting around at 5,500 RPM. It's a little high. I usually don't drive the car like that on a normal day, but for if I was to launch it or something like that, that's about where I would want to shift. It feels really smooth. There's definitely more there than there was before. I can definitely say that. I'm going to go ahead and put it in Sports Plus. Lose some of that traction control that cuts some of that power before we slide, and I will go ahead and start manual shifting here. Let's see what this is like. That's fun. I'm behind the car here, so I'm going to let him get a little bit of a head start at this light before I lay on it. Okay, he really doesn't want to go. Alright, here we go. Let's get a little bit of a roll here. Oh wow. That pulls like crazy. That's wild. It's fast. It's really fast. I still feel safe. Like, I don't think I'm going to get myself in trouble or do any kind of I'm not going to burn out, go sideways, but this is fast. Very controlled fast. Let's go ahead and get around this guy, maybe at the next light. We can do a unblocked launch here. Let me know in the comments, are you guys paddle shifters or selector shifters? Sometimes I'm coming from a 6-speed car. I find this to just feel more natural to me than the paddles, and oftentimes I'll forget to hit the paddles, but also I'll forget that forward is downshift in this car, and I'll end up really messing up and downshifting once I'm already high up in the revs, which is embarrassing and annoying. I'm really impressed at how quickly this car reacts to the manual shift mode inputs. And a lot of other cars that have paddle shifters and things like that, you can definitely tell it's just kind of a gimmick more than functional. This car is super functional, and holy crap, it's fast. Oh wow, that's insane. Oh man, that's crazy. This will get me in trouble if I'm not careful. Oh, it's so much fun to just let it go through the gears. Holy crap. It's not a crazy gain in power. I mean, anything that you can do to get like a 20% power increase, that's insane. That's like, what, a fifth more power than it had starting out. And all I did was plug my laptop into it. Of course, I paid for it. But plugging your laptop in, knowing that the car, okay, guy, knowing that the car could already do this on stock internals is what's really wild. The fact that all I did was remap the computer, and now it's so much faster. It's so cool. And supposedly it's supposed to be more efficient as well. Obviously I'm burning through gas driving the way that I am right now, but on things like daily commutes, it should be more efficient at utilizing the fuel and air mixture of the car, which is really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and go back into the automatic sport transmission and see how that feels. But overall, I'm really happy with this. This is a lot of fun. And again, this is just opening up so much more potential for bolt-on mods and things like that. Like I've been saying, I want to do a cold air intake, muffler delete, and then eventually if you do, I think either a catless downpipe or high flow downpipe, as well as a intercooler upgrade, you can actually then go to stage 2, which unlocks even more power. But again, I think that generates a little too much heat for the stock intercooler and things like that, so I definitely want to upgrade those before going that route with the tune. But for a stage 1 tune, I am very happy with how this feels. It's awesome. The car feels so much more like a sports car than when I got it. It is sporty. It's super sporty from the factory. Even being the mid-level 328, not the 335, it's definitely sporty. But this tune has just turned it into an absolute beast. Like, it feels fast, which is really awesome because this is such a functional car. It's a 4-door sedan. I can throw my bags in the back, and then I can also take it to the track or just drive like a hooligan if I want to. It's amazing. My 2-door Honda Civic Si, the sporty version, obviously not the Type R, but the sporty version, did not come close to this in power, even after all I had done to it. I had done full bolt-ons, stage 2 tune, and this is just miles further. It's just crazy. It's a lot of fun. I wish there was less traffic so I could play with it a little more. Haven't noticed any burbles yet, and that might just be on my part of how I configured those. or it could just be the fact that I have the stock muffler on here. But that's something I'll look into in the future with this tune, is figuring out how to get those burbles in, because it's such a signature F30 thing. And I know a lot of people think it's obnoxious and, oh, you know, it doesn't even, it can hurt the turbo, blah, 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 blah. It's like quintessential F30 to have exhaust burbles, so I want to figure out how to get that to work, at least for a little bit. I can always turn it off too, but I want my burbles. So I'm coming up on right about 1 month of ownership with the car so far, and it's crazy to think that because I've done so much to it already, but it's been really enjoyable, and I just wanted to jump into this as a project, and I've been loving it every day since. For some days I get home and I'll just stand outside and just keep looking at the car. It sounds a little bit weird, but it's just something I've wanted for a while, and I really, really, really enjoy it. Definitely a BMW fan for life. Even the new ones, man, even the new body style, it grew on me. The huge grille, all the way from the top of the hood down to the ground, I love it. Totally with it now. And I know that's a big point of contention for a lot of people, but I am a fan. Alright, so I'm getting to the end of the first test drive here. Coming up next with the car, I do actually have the Bimmer Code as well, so I'll be doing a coding video on how to set some of that up. Bimmer Code is another application. It's again a little OBD thing, but that actually connects to your phone through Wi-Fi, which is really nice. So with my phone, I'm going to be able to set some of the electronics and things like that. What I really want to do with that is get the auto folding mirrors, so whenever the car is locked, the mirrors will fold up, which is something I don't know why it doesn't do that just from factory. But also some of the ambient lighting things, as well as the taillight LEDs. You can have those on as daytime running lights as well, which I want to do because I just love the look of the taillights on this car. So probably be doing that in the near future in another video. And then also coming up will be just a 1 month check-in. It'll probably just be me driving around in the car and talking to you guys about how my thoughts on it so far. And how all of the mods that I've done have affected my daily life with the vehicle. All positive things. I'm going to try to include some negative things in there just to kind of have it be even, but honestly, in all honesty, I really haven't had any negative interactions with this car so far. It's been all smiles. I love it so much. Yeah, so glad to be in an F30, glad to be part of the family. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or you found it interesting, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more F30 content. I'll be doing this for a while. I'm in this for the long haul, and I'm wanting to encapsulate everything that I can with the car, so definitely follow along if that's something you're interested in. If you'd like to support the channel, I do sell car decals and banners on Etsy. I'll leave a link to my Etsy shop down below. It's Vanboy Decals. And go ahead and leave me a follow on Instagram at Vanboy Auto Styling. I like to talk to people on there as well about their builds, what's going on. I'm also really active in the F30 subreddit, so come out over there if you have an F30, or even if you don't, you just are an enthusiast. It's a great place to see some It's a great place to also see some good F30 content and have a good conversation with really like-minded individuals, which is always really cool. So thank you again for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace. Last little side note here, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I can hear the burbles now. In park, I'm just gonna rev it and just listen to the end here. I'll roll the window down just a little bit. That's so cool. Yeah, it's definitely the muffler just kind of stealing the thunder, but they're there, which is cool.